friends, neighbors, and of course, the YouTube comment section. Hello, welcome back. So today, we're tracking drums in the basement. It is Saturday morning at the moment, about 11:30. And I don't know when I will have time to upload this, but I got a call yesterday afternoon at 3 o'clock saying, hey, I am working at a session on Monday. Is there any way that you can give me 6 drum tracks by Saturday afternoon? Because the bass player and guitar player and piano players have to do their things tonight and tomorrow. So I, of course, said, sure, let's go. I will record you 6 songs real quick. So that being said, we are doing it in the basement. The most acoustically treated. Now, here's what I'll tell you. Every single piece of case or drum or assorted thing is strategically placed for sound wave, both diffusion, absorption, and reflection. Do you believe that? Or do you think I'm just probably being kind of lazy? The truth of the matter is I'm just being kind of lazy. Generally speaking, from previous videos, I like to track upstairs. My living room is very good. It's set up for it. It is nice. But I had a couple of things against me for today. One, generally for these sessions that I have to engineer myself, I will do it with the Midas M32C to get everything basically just safely tracked into Nuendo. And then once it's done, I'll bring that into the studio and add any type of sauce or outboard or whatever to it. My M32C rig is out on a rental today. And I am stuck with the M32R as my only interface because if I do it with the console, it is basically impossible to set gains on that thing if you're not engineering the session. It would involve running back and forth, recording things, and I just didn't want to do that. The other thing is Fred the cat absolutely hates when there's drum stuff that's happening, as you can imagine. Not that this is much quieter, but at least it gives him the abilities to roam around the house freely. And the other thing is I have to leave this session set up so that if there's a problem with any of my parts, once they start building the other instruments in, I have to recut it. And we have people coming over tonight, and it's just a whole thing. So this is kind of my caveat of doing the last minute session as I'm going to do it in the basement. That being said, I feel that I'm acoustically at least making the best of this particular situation. I am off axis to the wall. That's going to get painted eventually. So I am getting a nice little reflection there. We're making a pseudo cone / shell / cyc wall behind me. The basement actually doesn't sound that bad. It isn't as live as you think it is with the close mics on everything. And despite my billowing voice in this basement, it actually can do a pretty clean drum part. So I actually kind of like doing these videos. I did one previously about recording drums in the untreated basement. And, well, I'm a sucker for content, so I always have to make stuff. So anyway, let's take a look at the setup. Because the YouTube comment section is probably just feverishly typing saying, you can't record your drums in a basement. I bet it's a demo. It's actually a nationally released session. So YouTube comment section, I'm recording a nationally released session that overdubs will be happening at Avatar in New York. So we will see if my basement will compare to Avatar in New York. We'll see what that sounds like. I'm kind of laughing about that. So anyway, here's what we've got going on. As much as I'm sure probably some of you know, I hate 2 kick drum microphones, but in today's example, I decided to use 2. So I have the Beta 91 as the kick in and the Audix D6 as the kick out. Now, I know what you're thinking, Billy, you hate 2 kick drum mics. And you're right, I do. The only reason why I'm doing that is this is pop session with sort of a little bit of rock and a lot of Broadway-esque kind of things. So I'm not doing the mix, I'm just submitting the tracking. So I figured if you want the big thunderous 24x18 kick drum sound, you can use the D6. And if you would like it a little bit tighter, you can use the 91. Because it actually does, using a kick in and kick out, I generally don't use both of them at the same time. I'll pick one, but you know, these kind of sessions, I do like to deliver 2 kick options, especially because I prefer to track with big drums. So a lot of these songs do require big drums, so I decided to stick with my big Tama kit. So another thing that is kind of hilariously happening is my drums match, which I just can't stand. I hate when my drums match. So, you know, it just required the sizes of this particular kit. So to that end, kick drum, Beta 91 on the inside, D6 on the sort of inside, and that is a 24x18 Tama Starclassic Birch. To the snare drum, this is the matching snare drum to the kit, a 6.5x14 Tama Starclassic Birch. We are miking that with a Beyer M88, which, as you can tell from my last few videos, has been my recent favorite snare drum mic. The hi-hats are actually 2 crash cymbals together. There is a Peisty Rude Crash Ride as the bottom and a Peisty Crash as the top. And we are miking that with the just classic Shure SM81. The hi-hats are, I bought those cymbals when I was a youth. They're probably from 1999 or 2000, and I never particularly liked the sound of either of those cymbals, but together as hi-hats, they're quite lovely. As far as the toms go, toms are a 13x12 rack tom. Hey man, it's 1996 somewhere, and that 1996 is with me. Mic'd, of course, with a 421. Is there ever another microphone that you can use? Yes, there are thousands, but I have them. I put them up. Floor tom, 16x16 Starclassic Birch, also with a 421. And again, I will show you guys my tom tricks. I point the 421 right at the rim here. Why, do you ask? Well, because spot mics are there for low end. They are not there for the full pristine tom sound. They are there for low end. Your high end of the tom comes from your overhead. So the most low end from a drum will come right at the shell. So I'll try to show you that the best that I possibly can. That has always worked well for me. Now, off to my favorite drum, the Gong drum, the Pancake drum. At St. Alfonso's Pancake drum. This is a drum workshop, going away from my fierce allegiance to Tama or Yamaha. Pardon the Gretsch kick drum in the back. This is the coolest drum ever. Now, I will play it for you. It sounds like death, but under a microphone, which happens to be one of my least favorite microphones, the Beta 52, it sounds like an 808. And it is very cool for little segue moments and hits that kind of sound like an 808. It is my favorite thing. Simon Phillips is one of my all-time favorite drummers, and I said, I want that. And this was like $300 from Sweetwater. Cymbals. This is actually a Peisty traditional crash that I bought in Nashville at Nelson's Drum Shop when I was with the Spirit of the Bear tour, and it has sat in the box since last May, and this is the first time that I've ever that I've taken it out, which 12 and 13-year-old Billy, who played drums for like 12 hours a day, is crying at that. My old standby Peisty Reflector Full Crash 17. Oh, I don't even know what this thing is. What is it? It's a thin crash 18. It is a thin crash 18. 17-inch full crash, which I'm actually noticing that I'm getting some cracks in this thing. I've had this cymbal since probably 2007 or so, and the amount of sessions that it's been on is high. I'm getting a crack right here. And then there's another one that I noticed on the rent gig that was at the edge. So if anybody has any advice on fixing those things, let me know. It's an expensive cymbal. The ride for this session is a Peisty 20 series 21-inch ride, and my secondary crash is a Peisty 18-inch dark energy crash. So segueing to our overheads, I'm doing them in left, right, center, or left, center, right, if you will. We are using AKG C451Bs as the overheads, with an Avantone CV12 as a center. Do I like the Avantone CV12? Meh. Do I use it all the time? Yes. Yes, I do. I bought that microphone when I was beginning my recording journey because I thought having a C12 would be very cool, and a $400 C12. I don't know. I don't know what a real C12 sounds like, so can't tell you if it's good. It's very flat. It's flatter than you think. That being said, I feel like if you watch any of these sort of recording videos, I use 451s all the time as overheads. I love them. They're one of my favorite overhead mics. They sound just beautiful. The cymbals are not harsh. They're very pleasing to the ear, and they are half the cost of a 414. There, I said the quiet part out loud. Room mics. I am doing an MS. That's right, recording school. What up, MS? We are doing two AT4050s. The bottom is in Omni. The top is in figure 8, or if you're old, it's figure of 8. Now, I do have a secondary set of room mics that are over here. I have one that's over here. This is a Shure KSM137. And then I have another one that is by the water heater back there. So I have the null side to the water heater for the most off-axis water heater rejection. Sorry, that's supposed to be a joke. I mean, I'm sure that someone will comment on that. So anyway, that is the hardware of everything. Now, recording-wise, I'm doing this all with the M32R, which I gotta tell you, as much as I have used the Midas M32C series consoles forever, my experience on the R is hilariously bad. So I don't know if it's a combination of me not really knowing how to use the console very well, or the GUI just being god-awful. So a little column A, a little column B. So the console is handling all of the recording and the monitors. So basically, the way that's set up is I have all of my inputs. They're all color-coded, so red is the kick, green is the snare, etc., etc. And then we go down here, and here's, the rest of our stuff. And then I have channel 31 and 32 just as my playback channels. I have my bus master right here, and then that goes into this little Elite Core headphone amp. And that lets me have my drum mix, or my monitor mix, and also my playback for the session, which is being tracked in Nuendo. So what I will say as far as ergonomics go is the case is working out really well. I gotta tell you, it's really cool to spin around because I don't know any of these songs. So I'm writing chicken scratch charts over there to get myself through the forum, which I'm way too embarrassed to show any real musician what I do for charts. So I'll leave that off of the camera. But it is nice to scratch stuff down and get myself through the forum and just be able to ergonomically click the laptop. So generally, when I have my little C rig, it will go next to my hi-hat. But this is it. It's working out very, very well, other than the very clumsy setup. Now, I know what you're thinking. Why don't you use your iPad? Well, I sent that out with the M32C rental, so I'm sort of forced to navigate through all of the menus, which is less than desirable on the M32R. So anyway, I'm going to get going. I've got 2 songs of 6 done, so I'm going to grab a cup of coffee and send those off to the producer to see if I can move on, and if not, that's that. So I'll try to get a video of something. I mean, obviously, I can't play you the demos or anything because that will out the artist. But I can probably send you my drum sounds so that you can hear what it sounds like, because I'm sure you're curious. So I'll check back in with you when we start to overdub percussion, because there are sus cymbals and tambourines and wind chimes and things that will also undoubtedly need added to this session. So I'll show you how we mic that up. Anyway, catch you on the next one. Well, not the next one, the next segment. Well, here's where we've ended up so far. As you can see, certain things from the drum set are gone. And this is my overdub corner, replete with efflorescence and probably mold, question mark, in the corner of the basement here. So far I have done shakers and tambourines. There's probably going to be some cowbell, and then I'm going to reset this for bongos. So as soon as we get back to bongos, I'll check in. Well, y'all, we're done. The last and final thing, bongos. So we are rounding hour 11. I started on this at 9:30 this morning. It is 8:26. That is 6 songs. Drum set on every single one, overdubs, and percussion. So I will leave you on this video with a video of what the drums sound like, and we'll catch you on the next one. See y'all later. Bye.